They just stopped paying the invoice, and I was like, what the hell's going on? You know what I mean? And I'm contacting accounts payable, and the guy's like giving me some excuse, and then next thing you know, it's like, you know, negative $400 that I'm like out of, because I'm like, I mean, that's not a lot, but it's like, it's a lot in the beginning.
Yeah, you're running a business. All of it counts. You know, all of it counts. That means you can't do something else your business would have been doing. Exactly.
Okay, so Derrick, so let us know, for those who are watching my channel, where you're from and how long you've been in business.
So I am based in Seattle, Washington currently, a little bit north actually. Mukilteo, Washington is where my office is, but my market is the Seattle market. I've been in business for 7 years. I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana, so I moved out in Seattle in 2008. So, but I made my roots here. Yeah, I've started my business about 7 years ago, and yeah, that's where I am.
What made you move to Seattle?
Initially, school. I wanted to play ball in school, but life, and you end up finding different loves and different dreams and chasing different things. So, I ended up dropping out of school and just going into the workforce.
Okay, so this is something that I actually wanted to touch on. So I watched some of your videos, and I noticed that you were mentioning how you were homeless at a time. So can you speak a little bit about that, the journey from being homeless to now having, you know, like you said, over the six-figure commercial cleaning business? Because I think that's important for people to know, that you can go from that to where you're at now.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible, because I did it. I mean, I was, I fallen on hard times, and it can happen a lot faster than you think. Because I was working as an electrical engineer for a company, and then I decided that I was going to part ways with that company, and it was just terrible timing for me to do that, because I was renting the home that I was living in, and then my landlord decided they were going to sell the house, which gave me 21 days to find somewhere to live. And now I had just left my job, and I'm in between jobs and in between a place to live. So I'm trying to figure that out. I end up making the wrong choice of trying to stay in a hotel until I figured things out. But I really had nowhere else to go. Like I said, I'm originally from Louisiana, so my family's in Louisiana. I have no one out here. I'm out here kind of by myself, and so yeah, I kind of, hotels are expensive. It ate through my money quick. It was the dumbest thing I could have done, but yeah, staying in hotels ate through my money quick, and like that, I was out on the streets, and it was pretty rough. And at the same time, I was going through court and custody battles for my son, and so I had a lot to deal with. It was either a make or break. Sorry about this. My fan just kicked on. I'm gonna see if I can get it.
Oh, no, that's okay.
I don't know how if it's picking up in the microphone or not. But yeah, so I was going through these court battles and things like that, and so it was kind of a make or break time period in my life. I needed to do something, and I don't know if anyone has ever had to pay for a lawyer, but they are not cheap. So court is not cheap at all. Nothing about it is cheap. And so I wouldn't have accepted doing any amount of work that wouldn't have made me enough to be able to afford, to be able to go to court and to be able to put myself in a good situation. And it doesn't happen overnight, but if when you have nothing, you're willing to go to the bottom. And that's kind of where I found cleaning, and I realized that was something that I can do after researching businesses and finding books on financial literacy, and just diving deep into it. And that's really what it takes. Is you got to be at a point where you're ready to change, where you're sick of it. You have to be sick of it. And I was at a point where I was completely sick of it, and I was like, something has to change. And so I had to look at what success looked like in the rest of the world, and most of those are business owners. And I knew that I never thought that you needed money to make money. I always knew that was some weird lie that we told ourselves, but I was like, that doesn't make sense, because the money's got to come from somewhere. So I started to think that started to narrow down what I could do. And so cleaning is obviously one of those things where it doesn't take a lot of money to get started. You can, you can you can get started pretty cheap if you're just, especially if you're just doing it yourself. And so I'm glad that I did find cleaning as a business, and I think I just ran across the, as in a list of businesses that you can start. Someone said cleaning business, and so I dove right into it and compared it to anything else that I could have done at the time, and it just made the most sense. It seemed like I can get the money faster, and I needed the money right away because I was in a really rough spot. And it was much better than, like, say, trying to start drop shipping or selling on Amazon, which I dabbled in that stuff at that same time too. But yeah, nothing came through like cleaning did. So it just made the most sense.
How long was that period of I'm homeless to I got my first cleaning job or first contract? How long was that time frame?
So out on the streets, I was probably out on the streets for a good 3 months. And then I managed to find someone who was willing to let me sleep in their mud room. They call it mud room. Yeah. Rich white people have mud rooms. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah. But, oh, no. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like this little area in between their garage and inside their actual house. Yeah. And, but yeah, it's kind of where you kick your shoes off and whatnot. And so it gave me a place to lay my head at night. And by that time, I had gotten 1 or 2 just basic little jobs, nothing crazy. I think my very first cleaning job was a wet seal. They were doing construction in a wet seal inside of the mall near here. And so I think a contractor contacted me from like Texas or somewhere else, and was like, hey, can you do this job? And, I was like, sure. I showed up, and it just so happened, I think it was like $250 that they were looking for someone to kind of just vacuum up and sweep as they were doing construction and knocking debris down and stuff. And they just needed someone to cover the clothes while they clean and stuff like that. And I was like, fine, that's fine. They gave me the $250 up front. And I went and bought some tarps to cover up the clothes inside of the wet seal. And that was pretty much my cost for that job. And the crazy part about that one is that the contractors messed something up and they needed me to come back out the very next day for another $250. So I made like $500 in 2 days. So yeah, and that was my very, very, very first job. And I even hit up some friends that I knew that needed some work and just to come and help me out. And yeah, and so I think at the end of it, I made like maybe $300. I ended up getting paying $50 for insurance, and that kind of started me off. And it was just a one-time job, but it showed me that I could make money in this industry. And so I was still technically homeless, but now I have this mudroom and I have the confidence that I can get some work. And so I was kind of off to the races. It was probably another maybe month and a half before I got a real account. That's because, within that time, you're always studying, you're always learning, you're always, diving and trying different things. And so I'm starting to see now that I really, really want to do commercial and I don't want to do residential. I'm still experimenting with all the different types of cleaning. Because if cleaning is really deep. You can go a lot of different ways. You can go, medical. You can go just strictly floor care. You can do, you can do residential. You can do post construction. And so I'm fighting with where am I going to fit and where can I, what's the most beneficial for me. And so I'm kind of dialing in, a target, and I'm dialing in a customer type. And, after about a month and a half, I'm able to get walkthroughs consistently with the types of people that I'm going after. And I end up getting my first really big contract to me, which is like $2,000 a month. But I was going to be doing the cleaning. So $2,000 a month at that time when you were making nothing and homeless sounded like $1 million. It could have been $1 million to me. And so, I've always been pretty humble. I like a little bit of flash. I have some style, but I never needed much to feel like I have a whole lot, because I'm in New Orleans, we never had money. So I don't need much to feel like I've made it, so as kind of blessing and a curse. But I was able, with that $2,000 a month, was able to find an apartment, and get myself into, having a roof over my head and a place to have my kids. And, so yeah, it was a big step, and it didn't take too much, $2,000 a month. And people, so, people say you can't live off that. And I was able to live off of it. And I literally still live in that apartment. Like, and,
Really?
I do still live in that apartment. Yes. I could have bought things 10 times over, but
Wow.
it's so cheap. I'm able to stack so much money because my rent is so low. And, I'm not going to be there for much longer, but, but still, but like, I like that I'm an example to people. I'm like, you really don't have to like increase, keep increasing your expenses as things get better. I could have, been moved into a nice big house or anything like that. But, it's much better to say you have money than to say you have anything else. So
I agree. Oh yeah, I agree. I was actually gonna say, so how did you get that first job with Wet Seal? Were you like calling around?
it was just a matter of, I think I just existed online. They probably called maybe 7 other people. I think at the time I just got lucky in the SEO, and I think I just got lucky in the SEO and Google when they were looking. As I'm like, I made websites before, so I kind of had a little bit of experience in making websites. And so I just put up a new site. My business name has the keyword in it, commercial cleaning. So I think I just got lucky in the SEO to start off with. And back then no one was really doing SEO. Like, it wasn't like a thing that businesses were spending money on. And
Right.
and the same with social media and that type of stuff. And so I was really early. And so as people were looking for it, I'm the only thing that shows up, because not even the big companies were doing that at the time. It wasn't a focus. Everyone just kind of, would claim their business on Google, and that was the most they would do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But but yeah, I think I just got lucky, and they called me, and I just kind of went through it. They told me that I needed some insurance, so I told them I needed some money, and and once they gave me the money, I went and got the insurance, and that was pretty much it.
Because I do see a lot of people will say like, but I don't have this and I don't have that, etc. Like when I went and same thing with like the office clean. I hadn't even used my cleaning name at all, because I had made an entity and all that, but it was like, oh, I don't know if this is me. And it was like a year later they called me, and same thing. It's like I didn't have any insurance, I didn't have any equipment, I didn't have anything, and I just solely was like, I can get that stuff after I give the quote. If they like it, I could purchase insurance the
Yep.
same day. So it was like that for me too.
Yep, exactly. That's yeah. People just have this limiting belief that you need so
Yeah.
much. Like, you just put yourself out there. You don't need to have everything already. I kind of made that a business principle of mine, is that if I can't buy it with money the business already has, then I probably can't buy it. Like, and if I can get the money from the client, then I can get whatever I need to do the job. So.
Definitely. Now, what would you say, like you dealing with that situation where you were, spending nights in someone else's mudroom? Do you feel like you lacked confidence at all during that time where you met up with these people for this Wet Seal job and felt like, dang, like, like I feel like sometimes you may be so hungry for a situation, and sometimes for some people, you worrying about your appearance or how you come off, or um, all that stuff doesn't matter because you're trying to make it happen. Whereas in some people, they feel like, oh, I don't feel like these white people are gonna understand me when I come up in here, or whatever it may be. Sometimes people are like that.
Oh yeah, you're just preaching to the choir. I mean, I've felt like that. I mean, as far as confidence, I almost wasn't even thinking of, like, I was coming from a dire place. I'm coming from survival mode. So when you're in survival mode, you don't give a shit if you're pretty. You don't care at all. And for me, I was lucky in the sense that the jobs that I had prior to that, to this, was pretty commercial. I did business to business sales for AT&T and Verizon as I left college, and so I was kind of used to speaking that language. It definitely took me a while to build that. I'm from the deep South, so I had a very thick accent when I got here. And even sometimes now, if I relax a little bit too much, you can hear me sound
Yeah.
very, very Southern. But and I definitely thought that would scare people off. It would make me look unprofessional. And so I had spent nights where I'm working on my speech and trying
Yeah.
to sound like a business person. And but the further along I've come in this, I realized that it's almost doing yourself a disservice, because if you can't be yourself in front of your customers, it's going to be hard to come across as authentic and to come across like you really actually want to do something for them, and that counts, especially from the owner. If people can see that from the owner down, especially when you're doing big contracts, nobody's going to do it, just sign off that much money. They kind of want to see you, shake your hand, and meet you and stuff like that. You have to be authentic, and it's easier when you're yourself. And so yeah, I wouldn't spend too much energy on it. If I could give advice to anybody, don't spend too much energy on trying to look the part or sound the part. If you know what you're talking about, definitely do your homework and do your research, so that you obviously know what you're talking about when you open your mouth. But try to be yourself, because anybody that's gonna not want to do business with you because of anything like that, it's going to be difficult to maintain that business relationship anyway. So yeah, you might as well just have been yourself from the start.
I agree. What's your take on hiring employees or contractors?
So to be honest, I had such a distaste in my mouth for contractors, because I had been wronged by a contracting company so crucially very early in my company. I think I got stiff for I think it was like $6,000.
What?
This is within my first year of business. It was my first year of business. I talked about it in a video on my channel, but I got stiff for a good bit of money, and it hurt. It hurt bad. And so it just made me think about that whole model of contractors, and it made me hate the entire model. So I never even tried to learn a whole lot about that business model. But now the more that I look into it,
Yeah.
I was like, I get it. It's a great business model. I have been dabbling with the idea of maybe trying to do something similar to get into some different markets. Like, say if I want to reach something on the East Coast, I may try to use a contractor model, but anywhere I can get my hands on, I would rather be there. And I usually don't do any work for contractors. We only work directly with clients.
Directly with it. Okay. Okay. So what are some pros and what are some cons of the commercial cleaning business?
So biggest cons are long lead times for sales. So you can be working and talking and negotiating with someone, or and waiting for months, and you have to keep that upbeat same energy that you had when you met or when you first started emailing, just to make sure that relationship stays nurtured. And sometimes it just takes a while for things to actually kick off. There's usually a little more red tape, especially with larger contracts. You have to someone has to get approval, and then they have to agree with someone else, or they got to clear with accounts payable, and they got red tape, so things just move a little bit slower. It's not, well, at least in my experience with residential, send somebody an invoice, it's paid, that's a wrap. That I say, hey, this is the price, and that's you collect your money and you're out of there. But yeah, those are some of the biggest cons. Pros, to me, the budgets are just way bigger, so it's just more money. Feel like you have to, in comparison to residential, it takes fewer clients to make, X amount of dollars. I think you went mute again. Yeah, it's more consistent work. I like work where it's continuous. I mean, you can set that up in residential, but it's more common in commercial for they expect you to either at least come once a week, if
Yeah.
not 3, 4, 5 times a week, which is what we all prefer. But yeah, I mean, they're just different. I mean, there's a standard. There's pretty much a standard that everyone agrees on. There's entities that kind of govern things, and everyone kind of knows what clean is in commercial, as opposed to, I feel like in residential it's kind of subjective to I mean, clean is clean anywhere you go, but the homeowners, it can be a little bit nitpickier about what should and shouldn't be done.
God.
So
Yes.
yeah, I mean, with businesses, they understand the scope of work. We follow a scope of work. Everyone goes according to the scope of work and the paperwork, and that's pretty much it. Clients, like me, in my experience with residential cleaning, they don't care what they sign. They don't care what they sign at all. They want whatever they want their way when they want it. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah. What resources do you use to price office or commercial cleaning / buildings?
yeah, so I have a process. I pretty much take the average of the ISSA cleaning times, my own production rates, and I do I have a competitor average for what my competitors charge in or whatever area that I'm in, and
Right.
My final price usually ends up being somewhere around where those kind of meet, and then discounts or what have you from however my marketing went to that customer.
So for those who don't know, like the commercial cleaning lingo, what does did you say
ISSA? So ISSA is a big I don't know what you would even call them. They kind of just govern they kind of the entity that governs the cleaning industry. Like, everyone kind of looks to them for standards or other companies and resources and things like that.
I see.
Yeah, they do our industry. There's a big even for residential, they host a big huge conference every year in either Vegas or Dallas, where all of the biggest cleaning companies and names, Rubbermaid and Oric and Jan Pro and all the different cleaning companies and things like that, they all meet and have this huge convention in Vegas. They do classes and stuff like that. You can buy cleaning training and all kind of stuff from ISSA. Really cool, big resource. And even more so, you get kind of involved with that network of people. So it's just kind of a good network to be involved in. But it's just kind of just one of those things.
Okay. So during your journey, what has been your biggest hurdle?
My biggest hurdle has been learning to perfect my people skills, my people management skills. So that's where have always been lacking, is managing, managing people. And it's not even necessarily the managing of the people, it's kind of the emotions. And I didn't think that was going to play so much into it with staffing, was kind of having to more be a counselor for people than more kind of just setting people off to do their job and leaving them. You kind of have to be there a lot more. And I was always initially very insensitive and kind of standoffish, and kind of just wanted people to show up, follow the rules, do your job. And I'm realizing now that it takes a lot more than that. You kind of, the more you can show that you care, and the more you can show that you want to do well for people, the more willing they are to do good work for you, and the longer they stay around. So that's kind of been my biggest hurdle, was making that transition from like blaming them for whatever I'm blaming them for, not doing a good job or not wanting to do this, that, or the third, to kind of making that understanding that I shouldn't expect that from him, and I kind of should just be there for them more and kind of be more personable, and it's worked out for me since I've made that jump.
Okay. So what has been your biggest win?
Biggest win. Ooh. Really just being in business, just staying in business. That's pretty much it. It's just been still being in business. There's been a lot of reasons to quit and a lot of reasons to not keep going. But I like that I've been able to, just survive and continue to be here. So that's what I'm most proud of. I'm still alive.
Yeah, definitely. So what has made you decide to, hey, I'm gonna just start making YouTube videos on this whole journey that I'm going through?
Yeah, because I just I just wanted there to be another voice. When I started, there was very few. It was pretty much just AJ and there was Fabio, and there's the one I really don't like, which is the Grow My Cleaning Company podcast.
A lot of people say that.
I really, really despise that organization, really, and I don't know if it's just Mike, but I really don't like how they do business. It's very off-putting in my opinion. I don't agree with a lot of their business practices. But those were the only things that existed, and so I just wanted there to be another voice, because it pulled me out of a really dark place, and it pulled me out of some really unfortunate times, and it changed my life. Like I was like from stressed enough that it would keep me in the hospital to I don't have a care in the world these days. Like I get to do a media studio. Like I haven't made a whole lot of money from my bad. Yeah, I haven't made a lot of money from doing media for businesses yet. I'm still trying to break even off the tens of thousands of dollars that I spend on this studio and all my gear. But I'm able to do that because of my cleaning business. That's how I actually make my money. And so I felt like I have to share that. Anyone who's truly winning, anyone who's truly has some success, they're not withholding the information. They don't want people to struggle. They really actually want good for people. They want you to succeed. And that's what I want for people. Is I really want for people to succeed. And if I can help someone get out of a situation like I was in, then I mean that would be the biggest win. That would be really one of the biggest wins that I could possibly have in life, because it's bigger than just money. If I can take you out of that place that I was in, then that would be a real win.
Okay.
Well, I think my Zoom is about to cut off. We may have to reconnect here.
Is it? Oh yeah. I seen it up there for a little while, like at 9 minutes, but then I stopped watching that thing after a while.
Yeah. I just caught it, so I don't know how long it's gonna. That was good.
Do you have to create another one if it cuts off?
I may have to create another one. I'll send you the link if so. I think I may just do that. I think I may just set up another meeting and get us going in there.
Because I just had two more questions to ask.
Okay. Oh yeah, no problem. I mean, we can try to get them in, squeeze them in if you want. I don't know
Okay. Okay. So when you started this journey, during your journey, what has been your biggest hurdle?
My biggest hurdle has been learning to perfect my people skills, my people management skills. So that's where I have always been lacking, is managing, managing people. And it's not even necessarily the managing of the people, it's kind of the emotions. And I didn't think that was going to play so much into it with staffing, was kind of having to more be a counselor for people than more kind of just setting people off to do their job and leaving them. You kind of have to be there a lot more. And I was always initially very insensitive and kind of standoffish, and kind of just wanted people to show up, follow the rules, do your job. And I'm realizing now that it takes a lot more than that. You kind of, the more you can show that you care, and the more you can show that you want to do well for people, the more willing they are to do good work for you, and the longer they stay around. So that's kind of been my biggest hurdle, was making that transition from like blaming them for whatever I'm blaming them for, not doing a good job or not wanting to do this, that, or the third, to kind of making that understanding that I shouldn't expect that from him, and I kind of should just be there for them more and kind of be more personable, and that's it's worked out for me since I've made that jump.
Okay. Your biggest win.
Biggest win. Ooh. Really just being in business, just staying in business. That's pretty much it. It's just been still being in business. There's been a lot of reasons to quit and a lot of reasons to not keep going, but I like that I've been able to just survive and continue to be here. So that's what I'm most proud of. I'm still alive.
Yeah, definitely. So what has made you decide to, hey, I'm gonna just start making YouTube videos on this whole journey that I'm going through?
Hey, because I just I just wanted there to be another voice. When I started, there was very few. It was pretty much just AJ, and there was Fabio, and there's the one I really don't like, which is the Grow My Cleaning Company podcast.
A lot of people say that.
I really despise that organization, really, and I don't know if it's just Mike, but I really don't like how they do business. It's very off-putting in my opinion. I don't agree with a lot of their business practices. But those were the only things that existed, and so I just wanted there to be another voice, because it kind of pulled me out of a really dark place, and it pulled me out of some really unfortunate times, and it changed my life. Like I was like from stressed enough that it would keep me in the hospital to I don't have a care in the world these days. Like I get to do a media studio. I haven't made a whole lot of money from my bad. Yeah, I haven't made a lot of money from doing media for businesses yet. I'm still trying to break even off the tens of thousands of dollars that I spend on this studio and all my gear. But I'm able to do that because of my cleaning business. That's how I actually make my money. And so right. I felt like I have to share that. Anyone who's truly winning, anyone who's truly has some success, they're not withholding the information. They don't want people to struggle. They really actually want good for people. They want you to succeed, and that's what I want for people. I really want for people to succeed. And if I can help someone get out of a situation like I was in, then I mean that would be the biggest win. That would be really one of the biggest wins that I could possibly have in life, because it's bigger than just money. If I can take you out of that place that I was in, then that would be a real win.
Okay. Started this whole commercial cleaning journey. You did tell your story how you were homeless and you started this commercial cleaning. So did you have a mentor? Was there someone specifically you were looking up on YouTube that you followed, or were you just?
It was being a student in general. I didn't have like any specific example or guide. Literally everyone who I had at the time didn't quite have it like I had it. They didn't quite like their business model was not quite like mine. I knew some of the people that I could find had maybe they saved up a good amount of money, which is admirable. Like they had saved up X amount of thousands of dollars, and they buy into a franchise, like a Molly Maids or a Jam Pro or something like that. That gets them started, but that comes with structure and all of that type of thing. But that wasn't an option for me, and so I didn't really identify with those channels that kind of taught that. I didn't see anyone that taught like a from the ground up, starting at zero, starting with nothing, grinding it out type. I didn't see that success story. And really it's what kind of made me start making videos. It's because I was like, well, and at the same time I'm watching other people, and the idea of media is also setting in. So as you can see, I've kind of wanted to get into media really bad, but the idea of media really started to set in for my cleaning company. And yeah, I just wanted to be historically correct in what I was talking about, that cleaning in this industry was going to work. I had no idea like a COVID was going to happen or anything like that. I'm not Nostradamus, but I couldn't have been more right. So,
Right.
but yeah, I just wanted to be on record being right, and also, wanted someone else to see that it's possible if it is. Because I was like, if it's possible, this revolution will be televised. People are going to see this. I'm like, people are going to see this if I make it, and
Yeah.
so, and that's kind of where that motivation to even start recording for myself even came from. I didn't have like I kind of learned from everywhere. Anyone who was in the service industry at all, I would listen to them. That like other people who were doing floors and carpet cleaners and landscapers and all those things that do basically the same. They carry out business in the same exact way. They either are sending out invoices or they're getting contracts. They're either trying to do commercial or residential. Like a lot of those same principles. They're exactly the same, even down to like the processes and like the software that we use. A lot of once you at a certain level, it's all the same systems and softwares. So but yeah, that's been it. That was my mentor, was literally just learning, being a student continuously. And I'm still the exact same way. I'm up till 2-3 in the morning watching YouTube videos or deep inside of forums trying to find whatever information I can about my business and the things that I want to know and how to take my business to the next level. It never stops. It never stops.
What advice would you give someone who, decided like, hey, I want to start my own commercial cleaning business? What advice would you give that person?
Follow, try to seek out the information, be where you are. Don't be afraid to be at the level that you are. If you perfect where you are, the level that you are, you will quickly move on to the next level in commercial cleaning. That's just how it works. If you perfect the level that you are and you're satisfied where you are, perfect being there, the next stage will come if you just are consistent. Just stay consistent, stay at it. That's all. That's the best advice I can give.
On a spare time.
I don't have any spare time. I work in my spare time. I've fallen in. I'm in a place where now I love business so much that I've fallen in love with work. Anything I do, I will probably try to make a company out of it. I'm probably the most annoying person to be around. I'm probably insufferable to my family at this point, because now I haven't shut up about it. I've been in business for 7 years. Now my aunts have started businesses. My mom has started businesses. They've all like left the corporate world, to be in their businesses full time now, which is crazy to see this change throughout my entire family that I've kind of kicked off. Like it's been surreal. It's been really surreal.